In the last class, we discussed the three important concepts. One is dual nature of matter. Second one is Heisenberg uncertainty principle. Third one is concept of atomic orbital. In the dual nature of matter, we say that all microscopic particles in motion possess wave characteristics, and we can also derive the relation of between wavelength, mass and velocity of a microscopic particle. After that, we discussed the Heisenberg uncertainty principle. So these two principles overrule the circular paths proposed by the Bohr. Then the scientist will look for the new theory to explain dual nature of matter and Heisenberg uncertainty principle. In that case, a new theoretical sciences came into the picture, that is quantum mechanics. Quantum mechanics can study the motion of the microscopic particle by taking into the count of dual nature, both particle nature and wave nature. In that, the Schrödinger is a scientist, developed one equation that is called Schrödinger wave equation. The solutions of the Schrödinger wave equation led to the concept of atomic orbital in the place of circular paths orbits proposed by Bohr. What do you mean by that one is, we cannot say the electron is present exactly at a point. Instead of that one, we can talk about the regions where the probability of finding the electrons is maximum in the space. So that is we are called as orbital. Orbital means a region in a space around the nucleus where the probability of finding the electron is maximum. Like that, we are introduced to the new concept atomic orbital. So after that, we discussed what are the differences between the orbit and orbitals. Now comes to the today topic is quantum numbers. What are quantum numbers? We know the atomic orbitals. Generally, the atoms consist of multi-electrons, more number of electrons, so that more number of atomic orbitals are possible. All these atomic orbitals are differ in one, size, second one is shape, and the third one is orientation. All the atomic orbitals do not have the same size, same shape and same orientation. So to distinguish an atomic orbital or the electron present in the atomic orbital from one another, we need a set of certain numbers. Those numbers are called quantum numbers. What are the quantum numbers? So the quantum numbers are, the first one is principal quantum number, second one is azimuthal quantum number, third one is magnetic quantum number, in addition to these three, the one more quantum number is also there, that is spin quantum number. These four quantum numbers precisely distinguish the electrons present in the different atomic orbitals. So let me discuss one by one. What is principal quantum number? What does it tell? Same like that in the case of azimuthal, magnetic and spin quantum number. So what is the importance of those quantum numbers? What information we get from these four quantum numbers, that is we will discuss one by one. So the first quantum number, that is principal quantum number. Principal quantum number proposed by scientist Niels Bohr. And what does it tell? It is a very important point. It determines the main energy level or shell in which electron is present. So in which energy, first energy or second energy or third energy, in which energy level the electron is present, that is given by the principal quantum number. Normally this principal quantum number represented with the small n value, where n is equal to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That is any positive integer value 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we have known very well in the Bohr model, that is the different shells K, L, M, N, that is we can identify it with the principal quantum number. If n is equal to 1, the shell is K, n is equal to 2, L, n is equal to 3, M, n is equal to 4, N shell. And it is also help us to determines the average distance from the nucleus. So you have already calculated the formula in the Bohr's, 0.529 into n square by z angstroms, where n is the principal quantum number. So that's why this principal quantum number is useful to determine the average distance from the nucleus. And as the n value increases, so the average distance of an electron from the nucleus is also increases. So suppose if two electrons are present, one electron is present at the first energy level, the second electron is present in the second energy level. So which is very close to the nucleus. Obviously we can say the first energy level is always very close to the nucleus. So whereas the second energy level is always far away from the nucleus as compared to the first energy level. So that's why, so as the value of n is increases, the average distance of an electron from the nucleus is also increases. And these three are important to calculate the very fastly the shells, subshells and orbitals. That means it is help us to calculate the number of subshells, number of orbitals and number of electrons present in each shell. So what is the formula to calculate the subshells? The number of subshells present for a given value of n is equal to, what is the formula again? N. That means if n is equal to 1, then how many subshells are present? N. That is also become 1. So what is a subshell? That is S subshell. S subshell. If n is equal to 2, how many subshells are possible? So 2 subshells are possible. 1 subshell. What is that subshell is? S subshell. Here 2 subshells are possible. What are the 2 subshells? One is S and another one is P subshells. If n is equal to 3, how many subshells are possible? So 3 subshells are possible. So what are the 3? S subshell, P subshell, D subshell. If n is equal to 4, how many subshells are possible? N number. So that 4 subshells are possible. What are that 4? S, P, D and F. Like that, the number of subshells present in a given value of n is equal to, what is the formula? N. So that's why what are the subshells are possible generally? S subshell, P subshell, D subshell, F subshell. Whether all the subshells are present in that particular energy level or not, that is we can determine with the help of a principal quantum number. For example, if the first energy level, if we take in, only one subshell is present, S. If we take the 2, so then the S and P subshells are present. In the third energy level, the 3 subshells are possible. So S, P, D. If n is equal to 4, so 4 subshells are possible, S, P, D and F. So what is the difference between these three? Here S is present, here S is present, here S is present, here also S is present. So the difference is all those are different in their energy, because all are not present in the same energy level. One is present in the first energy level and another one is present in the second energy level, the third one and fourth one. And maybe they are also will be different, the size also will be different, energy is different, but in the case of this, the P and D and F subshells, whether they are oriented in the same direction or not, that is we cannot determine with the help of a principal quantum number. Only we can determine whether all these subshells are present in the different energy level or same or different. That is, we can distinguish by their size, by their energy. If they are present in the lower energy level, they have the low energy and smaller size. If they are present in the higher energy level, they are higher in the size and higher in the energy. And the second one is the principal quantum number is also help us to calculate the number of orbitals present in a shell for a given value of n. That is, we can calculate it by the formula n square. So that means if n is equal to 1, so then how many orbitals are present? So 1 square. 1 square is equal to 1 orbitals are present, that is s orbital is present. And if n is equal to 2, then how many orbitals are possible? 2 square, that is 4. What are the 4 orbitals? If n is equal to 2, the 2 subshells are possible. One is s and another one is p. So in the 2 subshells, how many orbitals are present? 4 orbitals are present. In the s subshell, s orbital. In the p subshell, px, py and pz. Like that. So 4 orbitals are possible. If n is equal to 3, then how many orbitals are possible? 3 square. 3 square means what better? 9. So 9 means what are that? So when the n is equal to 3, how many subshells are possible? S subshell, P subshell, D subshell. In the 3 subshells, how many orbitals are present? 9 orbitals are present. In the S subshell, only 1 s orbital. In P subshell, px, py, pz. In the D subshell, so dxy, dyz, dzx, dx square, y square, dz square. So these are the totally 9. S, px, py, pz, dxy, dyz, dzx, dx square, y square, dz square. Totally 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 orbitals are present. Suppose if n is equal to 4, how many orbitals are present? 4 square. 4 square means what is that? 16. So what are that one? S, P, D and F. In the S subshell 1, in P subshell 3, in D subshell 5, in F subshell 7. 7 plus 5 plus 12, 12 plus 3, 15, 15 plus 1, totally 16. 16 orbitals. So that's why for a given value of n, how many orbitals are present in that energy level that is given by the formula is n square. How many electrons can accommodate in a particular energy level? 1 or 2 or 3. That is given calculated by using the formula 2n square. So suppose if n is equal to 1, so then how many electrons can accommodate in the first energy level? 2 into 1 square. So that is 2. If n is equal to 2, then if n is equal to 2, then 2 into 2 square. So totally how many? 8. 2 square is 4, 4 into 2, 8. If n is equal to 3, so then the 2 into 3 square, that is 18 electrons. Like that, how many electrons can accommodate or how many electrons are present in each energy level is given by the formula 2n square. So that's why the principal quantum number is useful to calculate how many subshells are present, how many orbitals are present, how many electrons are present. So in each principal energy level is calculated with the formulas n square and 2n square respectively. So this is about the principal quantum number. Mainly, so we need to be remember what does it tell? It can be tells about the main energy level in which the electron is present. Whether first energy level or second energy level or third energy level. So that was given by the principal quantum number. So from that one we can also determine whether it is close to the nucleus or away from the nucleus. If the n value is smaller is there, definitely it is very close to the nucleus. If n value is large is there, that is away from the nucleus. And that means as the value of n is increases, the distance between the electron and the nucleus is also increases. So this is about the principal quantum number. Next we go to the azimuthal quantum number. second quantum number, that is azimuthal quantum number. It is proposed by the scientist Sommerfeld. It is represented with the letter small l. It is also called as angular momentum or subsidiary quantum number because it is useful to determine the angular momentum of an electron. That's why it is called angular momentum. Or subsidiary quantum number means so it can be determine the sub-level or subshell in the principal energy level. That's why these are called angular momentum quantum number or subsidiary quantum number. And the main use of this azimuthal quantum number, just now I said, determines the subshell in a given principal energy level to which an electron is present. In the previous quantum number, the electron is present in which main energy level, that is we can determine. Now in that main energy level, again the sub-levels are present. In that sub-level, in which sub-level the electron is present, that is given by the azimuthal quantum number. And it is also determines the three-dimensional shape of an orbital, and just now I said angular momentum of an electron. This is useful to calculate. So the three are very important. So it can be determined the subshell in a given principal energy level to which an electron is belongs. Okay, it is also determines the three-dimensional shape of the orbital, and also determine the angular momentum of electron. Now comes to the another important point. How many L values are possible for in main energy level? And that means how many sub-levels are present in each energy level. For that one, there is a formula is there. For a given value of n, L can have the n values that is ranging from 0 to n minus 1. In each energy level, how many sub-levels are present, that is depends upon the which one? Principal quantum number. Suppose if the n is equal to 1, how many sub-levels are present? Again, that L can have the values, how many? N values, that is 1. That is starts from which one? 0. To up to which one? N minus 1. Again, if you substitute 1 minus 1, you get the 0. So that is in first energy level only one sub-level is present. So like that, suppose in another energy level might be 2 are present. What are 0, 1. In the third energy level, 0, 1, 2. In fourth energy level, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. What does it represent? What is the name of the sub-levels? The name of the subshells are S, P, D, F. If L is equal to 0, subshell is S. If L is equal to 1, subshell is P. L is equal to 2, subshell is D. L is equal to 3, subshell is F. That means in each energy level, again the sub-levels are present. That sub-levels can be determined with the help of azimuthal quantum number. In each energy level, how many sub-levels are present, that is depends upon the principal quantum number. So the number of sub-levels present in a given principal energy level, is equal to, what is the formula? N. That is starts from 0 to n minus 1. Okay. So the energy order of those sub-levels, whether all the sub-levels are having the same energy or different energy, they are different in their energy. So the s orbital is always having the less energy than p orbital. So p subshell, p subshells are having the low energy than which one? D. Then d orbital, d subshells are having the low energy than which one? F subshell. So how do you calculate this is? Actually the topic was not included in your syllabus. There is a radial probability distribution curve is there. From that radial probability distribution curve, we can find out this relation. S subshell is having the low energy, F subshell is having the high energy. So because of the spherical symmetrical of S subshell, it is very close to the nucleus. So that's why that is said to be the most stable state of that one. That's why it is having the low energy. Due to the complexity of that structure, it is not come very close to the nucleus. It is far away from the nucleus, so that it is said to be having the more energy. So that's why we can determine, so the energy order of the different subshells is in the order of S is less than, P is less than, D is less than F. And it comes to, just now I said, if n is equal to 1, in the first energy level, how many subshells are present? What is the formula? For a given value of n, L can have the n values. So that if n is equal to 1, only one values are possible. So what is the one value? That is 0, because it starts from 0. Then what is the name of that subshell? If L is equal to 0, what is the subshell is? S. That is, we can represent it with 1s. In the 1s means 1 is the principal energy level. In the first energy level, there is another sublevel. What is that? S subshell. If n is equal to 2, how many L values are possible? 2. From where does it start? Definitely starts from 0. What is the next value? 1. So that if n is equal to 2, L is equal to 0, L is equal to 1. If L is equal to 0, S subshell. If L is equal to 1, P subshell. So that's why what are the subshells are possible? 2S and 2P. In the second energy level, the two subshells are present. So one is S subshell and another one is P subshell. If n is equal to 3, so 3 values are possible. It starts from first 0, after the 0 next 1, then 2. 0, 1, 2. 0 represents S, 1 represents P, 2 represents D. So totally 3 subshells are possible, S, P, D. All the 3 are present in the third energy level, so that's why 3S, 3P, 3D. If n is equal to 4, in the fourth energy level, how many subshells are present? So again the 4 subshells are present, then 0, 1, 2, 3. What are that? S, P, D and F. So that's in the fourth energy level, so that's why we write as 4S, 4P, 4D and 4F. So like that, how many subshells are present in each energy level we can calculate it. So by the formula, what is that beta? N. So in a given principal energy level, N, the L can have the, okay, how many subshells beta? N subshells. So those are the values starts from 0 to N minus 1. So if L is equal to 0, S subshell. If L is equal to 1, P subshell. L is equal to 2, D subshell. L is equal to 3, F subshell. Whether all these subshells are having the same energy or different energy in a particular energy level. No, all are not having the same energy. So those subshells are differing their energy. So S subshell is having the low energy. The F subshell is having the high energy. This is about the azimuthal quantum number. In that one, we need to be remember the important points is. So mainly it can be determined the subshell in a given principal energy level to which an electron is belongs. This is the very first one. How many subshells are possible? N subshells are possible for a given value of N. So what are that? They are starting from the value 0 to N minus 1. There is a tabular form is there. This is useful to calculate the name of the subshell. S subshell, P subshell, D subshell and F subshell. So this is about the azimuthal quantum number. So the third quantum number, that is magnetic quantum number, it is proposed by the Landé, represented with ML. So what does it tell? Mainly it can be tells about the behavior of electron in the magnetic field, and also represents the orientation of orbitals along a set of standard coordinated axes. So you know very well, in the case of P subshell, there are 3 orbitals are possible, Px, Py, Pz. The P subshells are having the 3 orbitals. These 3 orbitals are distinguished by the orientation. So the electron density is present in one of the orbital along the x-axis, in another case y-axis, in the another axis, that is z-axis. So these 3 orbitals can be distinguished by the orientation along a set of standard coordinated axes. That is, we can getting the information from the magnetic quantum number. And how many magnetic quantum number values are possible for a given subshell? That is 2L plus N, 2L plus 1 values of ML are possible. In a subshell, how many orbitals are possible? In P subshell, how many orbitals are possible? In D subshell, how many orbitals are possible? In F subshell, how many orbitals are possible? All those are given, are getting the information from this magnetic quantum number. For that one, what is the formula? 2L plus 1. Suppose somebody can ask the question, so how many number of orbitals are present in the S subshell? For S subshell, we have know very well the azimuthal quantum number, that is L is equal to 0. If L is equal to 0, you substitute in this one L in 2 into 0 plus 1. That is only 1 orbital is possible. If L is equal to 2, how many orbitals are possible? So 2 into 2 plus 1, that is 5. In L is equal to 2 means D subshell. In the D subshell, how many orbitals are possible? 5 orbitals are possible. So those 5 orbitals are distinguished, okay, with the help of magnetic quantum number. Okay, let us come to, okay, the 5 magnetic quantum numbers or 2 magnetic quantum number or 1 magnetic quantum numbers or values are there. How we can write those values? They are starts from minus L to 0, 0 to plus L. So what do you mean by this one? Let us take the first. If L is equal to 0, the number of, okay, L values are possible. 2 into 0 plus 1, that is equal to, what is it? 1. What is that? It starts from where? Okay, one value that is starts from where? Which one better? So minus L is equal to 0, minus 0, 0 plus 0. That is simply we can write as L is equal to 0. Suppose if L is equal to 1, okay, the number of L values are possible. 2 into 1 plus 1 is equal totally 3. 3 magnetic quantum number values are possible. What are the 3? So it starts from which one? Minus L. What is the minus L in this case? Minus 1. After minus 1, what do you get? 0. After 0, what do you get? Plus 1. So that's why minus 1, 0, plus 1. Px, Py, Pz. Like that. If L is equal to 2, how many magnetic quantum number values are possible? So 2 into 2 plus 1. Sorry, totally 5 values are possible. What are that 5? It starts from, okay, minus 2 because L is equal to 2. Minus 2. After minus 2, minus 1. Then 0. After 0, plus 1. Then plus 2. So totally 5. So there are 5 orbitals are there. These 5 orbitals are having the 5 magnetic quantum numbers. Similarly, in the case of the, okay, L is equal to 3. So then L is equal to 3, the number of ml values are, okay, 7. So what are that 7? It starts from minus 3 to plus 3. Minus 3, minus 2, minus 1. 0, plus 1, plus 2, plus 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Totally 7 values. 7 ml values are possible. So these ml values are mainly useful to distinguish the orbitals present in the subshell. Totally, so far, so first we can discuss the electron belongs to which energy level. In the next case, in that energy level in which subshell the electron is present. That is we can determine with the help of azimuthal quantum number. Okay, in the subshell in which orbital the electron is present. That is we can determine with the help of which one? Magnetic quantum number. So here to calculate the number of okay, azimuthal quantum number values or magnetic quantum number values, always, okay, they are independent or not each other, they are dependent each other. So for example, first the principal quantum number is there. Okay, then we go to the azimuthal quantum number. How many azimuthal quantum numbers are possible for a given value of n? What is the formula? N. And L can be depends upon which one? N. And when it comes to the magnetic quantum number, how many magnetic quantum number values are possible? That is depends upon which one? L, azimuthal quantum number. Okay, so that's why, so these 3 quantum numbers are, okay, dependent each other. So the 4th quantum number is there, that is a spin quantum number. So that is I will discuss. So the 4th quantum number is spin quantum number. So this quantum number was proposed by the Uhlenbeck and Smith. Generally it is represented with either S or MS. So what is the importance of this spin quantum number? You know very well. So far we know the electron can be revolving around its nucleus. It's not only revolving around the nucleus, it can also revolve around its own axis also. So that is the, okay, the point we need to be remember here. So that it can be described the spin orientation of electron. And here we know very well the electron can spin only 2 ways. Either it can be in clockwise or anti-clockwise. If it is okay, clockwise direction, the quantum number, spin quantum number is treated as a plus of. And if it is anti-clockwise, the spin quantum number is minus of. There are only 2 possibilities, either in clockwise or anti-clockwise. So that only 2 spin quantum numbers, either it may be plus of or minus of. Okay, whatever the electron is present in an orbital, definitely either it has the spin plus of or minus of. So this is about the spin quantum number. Finally, the statement just now I said here in the magnetic quantum number. So the azimuthal quantum number values we get from the principal quantum number. The magnetic quantum number values we are getting from the azimuthal quantum number. For a given value of n, okay, how many azimuthal quantum number values are possible? That is L is equal to the formula is n. How many magnetic quantum number values are possible for a given value of L? That is formula is given 2L plus 1. That means we get the information about the azimuthal quantum number by knowing the principal quantum number. We get that magnetic quantum numbers by knowing the information of azimuthal quantum number. And here the spin quantum number, there are only plus of or minus of. So it doesn't get from any either principal energy quantum number or azimuthal quantum number or magnetic quantum number. That's why we give the statement spin quantum numbers has a value of independent values of the other three quantum numbers. It never related to other three quantum numbers. It is individual. So only the two, either it is plus of or minus of. If electron is present in a particular orbit or a particular energy level or a particular sub-level, okay, definitely it may have the spin plus of or minus of. This is about the quantum numbers. These quantum numbers are help us to distinguish the electrons present in the different orbitals. So let me summarize all the four quantum numbers. If n is equal to 1, the principal energy level, that is the first energy level. So what are the possible values of L? 0. So if L is equal to 0, what is the name of the subshell? S. So how many subshells are possible? Only one S. So that's why I say 1. So number of orbitals are 1 S orbital. Number of electrons can accommodate, that is 2 electrons, because the formula is 2n square. If n is equal to 2, what are the possible values? 0 and 1. So with respect to the 0, so totally the 2s, here L is equal to 1, it is 2p, totally 2 subshells. So here number of subshells are 2. So number of orbitals, in S subshell 1 orbital, in P subshell 3 orbital, 3 plus 1, totally 4. So how many electrons can accommodate? That is 2n square. So 2n square means here 8. 2 square into 2, that is 8 electrons can accommodate. If n is equal to 3, so number of L values are 0, 1, 2. What are that? N is equal to 3, L is equal to 0, that is 3s. N is equal to 3, L is equal to 1, 3p. N is equal to 3, L is equal to 2, what is 3d? Totally 3. So in S subshell 1 orbital, P subshell 3 orbitals, D subshell 5 orbitals, totally 5 plus 3 plus 1. So total number of orbitals are 9, total subshells are which one better? 3. 3 subshells, 5 plus 3 plus 1, that is 9. And how many electrons we can accommodate? It is 18 electrons. Comes to the n is equal to 4. If n is equal to 4, what are the possibilities? 0, 1, 2, 3, totally 4. So if n is equal to 4, L is equal to 0, that is 4s. N is equal to 4, L is equal to 1, 4p. N is equal to 4, L is equal to 2, 4d. N is equal to 4, L is equal to 3, 4f. Totally how many subshells? 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 subshells are possible in the principal energy level 4. And number of orbitals. S subshell consists of 1 orbital, P3, D5, F7. 7 plus 5, 12 plus 3, 13 plus 1. So 12 plus 3, 15 plus 1, 16. Totally 16 orbitals. F subshell consists of 7 orbitals. D is 5, 7 plus 5, 12. P subshell consists of 3, 15. S subshell is consists of 1, 15 plus 1, 16. So totally the number of electrons can accommodate is 2n square, that is 2 into 4 square. 4 square is 16, 16 to the 32. So like that we can say. The number of orbitals, it is okay, when we describe this is 2s, 2px, 2py, 2pz, like that we can write. Here in the case of this 9 orbitals means 3s, 3px, 3py, 3pz, and 3d. Also the 3dxy, 3dyz, 3dzx, 3dx square y square, 3dz square, like that we can write. So how many orbitals, how many subshells, okay, and what is their designations in those subshells, how many electrons, maximum number of electrons we can accommodate. So summarized like this with the help of the 4 quantum numbers. So what are the 4 quantum numbers? So one is principal quantum number, second one is azimuthal quantum number, third one is magnetic quantum number, fourth one is spin quantum number.